Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga Basics, a class for beginners starting the yoga practice. We include physical asanas, which are the postures, breath-led movement, some breathing techniques, and a practice of brief meditation at the end. So for this practice, you'll want to have 2 yoga blocks, a strap, and a blanket that you can fold up to sit on. Let's begin folding the blanket to a thickness that allows you to sit on it towards the front edge, where your pelvis can slightly tilt forward as you allow your thighs to splay open in front of you. You want to have your knees to be able to relax downward where they're not lifting comfortably away from the floor, and then play with how close you cross the shins with each other, whether you bring them close together to cross at the middle of the shins or wider apart. See what feels comfortable for you to be able to lengthen your spine as tall and relaxed as possible. And this might seem so detailed in just sitting down, but it is such an important part of the practice to be able to sit down comfortably where you can breathe easily and be focused, because our physical yoga practice, the postures, are really meant to help us prepare for meditation, which is the later or more advanced practices of yoga. So make sure that you are sitting comfortably, root down evenly through the bottom part of your pelvis, which is the left and the right sitting bones, and lift up through the center of your spine. So you're lifting through the back of the neck, through the back of the skull. Let the shoulders roll slightly back and down so your chest feels open, and rest your hands on your lap. Today, I'd like to focus on postures that are called forward bends, different ways of hinging forward from the hips. It can seem like one of the easier postures because it can feel very cooling and restorative and relaxing. It allows you to stretch the backside of your body from the back of the spine down to the backs of the legs. However, forward folds can actually be the most dangerous yoga poses, especially for the spine, for the hamstrings, and the lower back. That's why it's important to practice what we will be practicing to safely forward bend in different ways, from standing forward folds to seated forward folds to lying down forward folds. So we're going to be going through that today. For now, let's begin by checking in with the different layers of your being. Maybe close your eyes, let your body be still, and begin to pay attention to your body and notice how it's feeling right now. Sensing if any areas are feeling tense, needing more of your attention today. Or maybe your body feels really loose, open, and strong. Nothing good or bad, no need to label it as that. Begin to notice the quality of the breath without changing the way that you're breathing. Through your breath, acknowledge how you feel right now energetically. And notice how you're feeling emotionally, any kinds of emotions, as well as mentally. Notice if there have been patterns of thoughts that are leading to the way you're feeling emotionally now. Does the mind feel focused, scattered? So you're simply acknowledging where you're starting from in these different layers of yourself. And now let the breath in a little deeper through your nose. Feeling the breath move in your body, open the mouth and exhale slowly. Even slower, inhaling through your nose. This time, fill up and hold your breath in for a few seconds while relaxing your body. And try to exhale just as slowly as you inhaled. Again, out through the mouth, and hold your breath out for a few seconds too. Notice how that feels. As you continue to deepen your breath, join your hands together at your heart. This is a gesture that represents union of the different aspects of the self, as well as gratitude. Before setting an intention, what is something that you could offer gratitude for? Through the practice of gratitude, you empower yourself from a perspective of abundance rather than lack. Now clarify your intention for today's practice. Meaning, is there something that you are choosing to create a shift in any area of your life? Or is there a feeling tone you're reaching for or inviting into your experience? Now, as you breathe in, imagine that intention already happening now. Breathing out as a way of remembering that we are part of a larger whole. I invite you to choose somebody that you would like to dedicate today's practice to. Maybe someone you care about. And let's open the practice by chanting Om 3 times, a way to create resonance together. Inhale a little slower. Bowing in, acknowledge that your body is intelligent and wise and continuously communicating its needs to you. So listen to the sensations you're feeling in each posture and let them guide you to how deep or not so deep you need to go in each pose. Resting anytime you need to rest. Let's start a breathing technique or pranayama to help regulate a state of balance mentally and physically. It also helps to focus, and it is called Ujjayi Pranayama, which means victorious breathing. So as you're sitting now cross-legged, I invite you to switch the shin that's forward or on top to help even out the stretch in the hips that we're already creating. And as you continue to sit tall and relaxed, place a hand on your chest and a hand on your lower belly. We'll invite the breath to expand into both hands as we imagine filling up the entire torso, both front and back. As I count to 5 while we breathe in, and as I count from 5 as we breathe out, we'll feel all those areas soften. So we're balancing inhale and exhale. And at the same time, I invite you to create a very gentle whispering sound to the breath, which is the key to Ujjayi breathing. And you create that sound by softly narrowing or gently constricting the back of your throat. The sound serves as something you can focus on that is always happening in the present moment. And that's how this breathing technique helps you to focus. So listen to that sound right now. Inhaling, exhaling with the mouth closed. Imagine you're breathing through a narrow straw connected down through the throat into the belly. Now place hand on the chest, hand on the lower belly. Empty this breath, and we'll take a few rounds of Ujjayi Pranayama together. Inhale slowly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale slowly for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Count 2 more rounds on your own. And can you feel the breath expanding into both of your hands as you imagine breathing into all of your torso, the front and the back side? Listen to the sound of your breath. Does it feel like it's paced slowly and not rushed? Invite a smooth quality, because all the energy you're putting into your breathing right now is going to transfer into the body when we start to move the body. So we're trying to set the tone for the physical practice through the breath. If you notice that you can't hear your breath anymore, or you're not paying attention to it, feel free to pause what you're doing physically or to slow down your body so that you can come back to the same whispering sounding breath, all through the nose. So mouth is closed. It helps to warm up the body. Now keep that sound going, and we're going to slowly warm up the spine in a movement called cat-cow pose. So come down to your hands and knees in tabletop position, where you spread the fingers flat and wide so the index fingers are pointing forward, parallel to each other. You're stacking your shoulders right on top of your wrists, and your knees are about 2 inches behind your hips. Now empty the breath and take just as slow as you breathe in to glide your torso forward. Roll the shoulders back and down, lift the chest, and look up at the top of the in-breath. Take just as low as you breathe out to slowly contract your abdomen, drop the tailbone, drop the head, and round your back. Again, inhale, slowly gliding your chest forward. Roll your shoulders down into cow pose. Exhale, lifting the belly in, dropping the head and tailbone to round into cat pose. Listen to 2 more cycles of breath here. The Sanskrit word for this movement and posture is Bitalasana. Bitalasana. So now that we've warmed up the spine a little bit, come down to sit and take a strap with you as you lie down on your back. Put the strap aside for a moment and keep the left leg straight on the ground as you bend the right knee towards your chest. Take hold of either your right thigh or your right shin with both hands, making sure your head and shoulders stay on the ground. So in Apanasana, this posture, when relieving pose, draw the right thigh closer and closer towards your belly while grounding the left leg and the back of the left hip. Can you still hear that whispering sound in your breath? Keep it going. Now from here, take your strap. If you have a loop in the strap, step the ball of your right foot into the loop. Otherwise, step the foot into the middle of the strap, and you'll have to hold 2 ends of the strap instead of 1. Now, don't straighten your right leg all the way up. It might not even do that. Just bend the right knee and begin to kick the right foot into the strap while you gently pull the strap down. So just find the amount that you can straighten the leg without causing any strain. Shoulders and head are still grounded. Flex both of your feet by curling all of your toes back towards your face. And keep your hips squared, which means you're not turning out any of the thighs. You're hugging the midline of your body. So right now we're already in a lying down version of a forward fold. We're hinging at the hip. So a few more breaths here. Inhaling through your nose. Exhale. One more deep breath. Remove the strap, straighten the right leg, bend the left knee into your chest, and hold your left thigh or your left shin with two hands where you can ground your head and shoulders. Few breaths of drawing the left thigh closer to your belly while grounding your right leg and the back of your right hip. Notice if the pattern of your breath has changed. So part of keeping that consistent sound rhythm in the Ujjayi breath requires you to pay attention and to exert some effort, which is how it helps you to concentrate. Now let's step the ball of the left foot into the loop or center of the strap. Hold the strap with two hands, flex both of your feet, curl the toes back towards your face, and start to kick into the strap while you pull the strap towards you. And we're not overexerting ourselves. Remember, we haven't really warmed up. So you want to take it very gentle. We're just slightly bringing a stretch into the back of your left leg, which is right here, the thighs, the hamstring. You might feel a stretch in the lower back. A few more deep breaths here. Remember not to turn out the legs in this variation. One more deep breath. Set the strap aside and bend both knees into your chest, into full Apanasana, and rock a little side to side to massage the lower back onto the ground. Then rock forward and back several times to build momentum so that eventually you can rise up to stand in mountain pose. At the front of your mat, placing two blocks about a foot in front of your feet, so they are shoulders distance apart on their tallest height. And then start with your feet hips width apart, where your heels are right under your hip bones. Take a look at your second toes and parallel them to each other as you spread the toes on the ground. And as you stack your hips above your heels, stack your shoulders above your hips and lengthen through the back of your skull. Turn the palms to face forward in mountain pose. Feel the energy of your legs. So rather than simply standing here, you're actively rooting down or pressing into the ground with your feet and feeling the kneecaps slightly lift. Feeling the energy rise up through the center of your spine to be able to stand taller. Join your hands together in prayer at your heart center. And we're going to begin half sun salutations, which includes forward folds. So listen as we practice forward folds safely here. Come back to your intention that you set for this practice. Bring gratitude as we are saluting the sun with appreciation. Ardha Surya Namaskar. As you inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead, relaxing the shoulders back, gaze up. Bend your knees generously, and as you exhale, tilt your weight forward and bow as if you have a flat back. Plant your fingertips on your thighs. Start there. Press into your thighs, not your knees, and inhale, stretch your spine forward like the top of your head is trying to touch the front wall. Engage the belly here. Keep the knees bent. As you exhale, bow towards your thighs. Press down to your feet. Keep the belly engaged. Keep the knees bent. And as you inhale, sweep the arms forward and rise to stand in Urdhva Hastasana, looking up. Exhale as you bring your hands together from your crown to your heart center. So that's one variation. We're starting with very large accommodations for tightness in the back of the body. And then you can choose, if you feel warm enough to go further, we'll go further and further each half sun salutation. So you might stick with pressing the hands in the thighs and bending the knees generously. Here's another point. When you're doing your standing forward folds, you want to try to keep your weight shifting forward instead of having the pelvis go way behind the heels. especially if the legs are straight. You want to bring the pelvis right on top of the heels and fold from there. So sometimes that requires bending the knees a lot. So the pelvis, and if you bend the knees, the pelvis will be behind the heels. But in that case, it's fine because you're tilting your weight as far forward as possible. Also, as I mentioned, you're engaging the abdomen. So feel the belly here and firm it up. Imagine you're putting on some tight jeans where you zipper in the lower belly and lift it up towards the heart. You want to feel that engagement as you're bending the knees and as you're hinging forward from the hips. Notice the spine. Instead of rounding the back where the chin falls towards the chest and there's this hump back right here, you want to eliminate any hump back, right? You want to create more of a bend in the knees if the back is humping, so that when you fold, it's more the feeling of a flat back. The spine is never completely straight, right? It has natural curves. So I'm just saying a feeling of a flat back. So points to notice. Let's take it further into our half sun salutations. Come back to hands in prayer at the heart and listen to a cycle of breath. As you inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead, look up. Bend your knees, tilt your weight forward, engage the abdomen as you exhale to bow. Now, if you can reach the blocks without creating a rounded back, you can tilt your weight forward, reach the blocks. Otherwise, stay higher up and press your thighs, or maybe your shins, but not your knees. Whatever you're pressing into with your hands, really press so that you can inhale to stretch the spine more actively forward. Remember to engage your abdomen. Shoulders move away from the ears. Exhale, bow from the hips, creating that same length in your spine. Press down to your feet and inhale as you sweep the arms forward and up. Rising fully, gaze up. Exhale, join your hands in prayer from your crown to your heart center. 2 more half sun salutations. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead. Exhale, bend the knees if needed, hinge forward. Notice where to place your hands that works for you. Then inhale, press with the hands to lengthen forward. Exhale, fold. Engage the belly here, press with your feet. Inhale, rise all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands together at your heart center. Last one, inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead. Exhale, hinge forward. If you can do so with a feeling of a flat back and not bend the knees, you might go there. Press into what you can reach. You might adjust the height of the blocks. Stretch the spine as you inhale. This is half forward fold. And then exhale to forward fold. Press to the feet. Inhale, rise up. Hands overhead in mountain pose. Exhale, hands to the heart in mountain pose. So now we're going to move into sun salutation C, which will help us to warm up our hip flexors, which are necessary to contract when we're forward folding. You may like to have your blocks outside of your heels so that you can place your hands on your blocks and adjust the height of the blocks as you need if the floor feels too low when you're placing the hands down to step back. Start in mountain pose again. Join your hands in prayer. Empty this breath. Starting sun salutation C. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and overhead. Exhale, bow over your legs. Remember to bend the knees if you need. Lower the hands outside of your heels. Inhale, step the left knee behind you and look up. Kneeling lunge. Hold your breath and plant your hands and knees down in kneeling plank pose. Exhale, lower your chest as you bend the elbows towards your ribs. Stick the tailbone up, lower your chin. Inhale, slide your torso forward on the ground and enter cobra pose. Roll the shoulders back lightly, press the feet down. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your pelvis high and back, downward dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb. Hands on blocks or the floor, lower the back knee, gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms and rise to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands at your heart in mountain pose. Second side, inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, bow forward.
Lower the fingertips. Inhale, step the right knee back to a kneeling lunge. Look up. Hold the breath as you step to kneeling plank or full plank if you feel ready. Exhale, lower your knees, then your chest, then your chin. Hug the elbows towards your ribs. Inhale, slide forward to the floor in cobra pose. Roll the shoulders back. Exhale, tuck your toes and lift the pelvis, downward facing dog. Inhale, step your right foot forward beside your right thumb. Lower your left knee and gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, sweep your arms and rise to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands to meet at your heart. Let's move into Sun Salutation A. We'll take 2 rounds as we continue to warm up all of the body, including more forward folds. So notice how your lower back feels right now. Notice how your hamstrings at the backs of your thighs feel right now. If they're feeling sore in any manner, make sure you're bending your knees quite a bit and you're firming in the belly either way. So let's bring the hands in prayer. Listen to a cycle of breath. On your next inhale, sweep your arms overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow over your legs. Press your legs, the blocks, or the floor. Inhale, half forward fold. Step back into your version of plank. Exhale, glide forward. Bend your elbows so they hug your side ribs. Keep the neck long as you lower. You can always plant the knees down. Inhale to cobra, pressing the tops of the feet down. Exhale to downward facing dog. Spend 5 or so breaths pedaling your feet in place, as this will help to loosen up your calves, your hamstrings. Notice that downward facing dog is also a forward fold. You're hinging forward from the hips. You might shake out your neck, your head to relax your neck. Tune in to the way you're breathing. Bring your intention into the breath. Now, as you parallel your feet, hips distance apart, bend your knees and lift your hips as high as you can and as far back as you can away from the hands. Spread the fingers flat, relax the neck and lift the shoulders away from it. Then spread the shoulder blades apart, wrap your triceps towards the ground. Engage the belly in and press the front tops of your thigh bones back, maybe towards straightening the legs, without rounding the back. Steady your gaze on one focal point and listen to one more deep breath. When you're finished with the exhale, hold it out as you walk to the front of your mat into a standing forward fold. Press into your blocks, your legs or the floor, and inhale, lengthen to half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Press to your feet, engage the belly. Inhale, rise slowly to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, join your hands in mountain pose. Last, Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana or standing forward fold. Press down with the hands. Inhale, half forward fold or Ardha Uttanasana. Step to your version of plank and exhale, lower forward. Remember, place the knees down if you need. Inhale to cobra. Exhale to downward dog. This time, let your body be still for 3 deep breaths. When you finish the third, walk to the front of your mat into a forward fold. Press with your hands. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Press with your feet. Inhale, rise, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Now let's add a few more pointers to safely forward bend with as we come into standing forward fold or Uttanasana. Feet parallel, hips width apart. Bring your hands to your hips And think of hugging your hips towards your midline. So without moving your feet, spin your inner thighs. I'll show you this way, these inner thighs towards the back of your mat. So there's a little, from your hip sockets, you're internally rotating the thigh bones just a little bit. The feet don't move, but it's as if you're pigeon toeing the feet. But we're not moving the feet, we're just moving right here at the thigh bones. Right, so find a little bit of that, and what it does is it broadens the space across your lower back. If you do it too much, you'll also tilt your pelvis forward like this. We don't want this. So to counteract, you want to also elongate the tailbone actively towards the ground between your heels and slightly lift your frontal hip bones. When you lift your frontal hip bones, you activate the lower belly. So feel the lower belly activated. And now breathe in, lift your chest and look up. Exhale slowly. In fact, take a few breaths to slowly bow in. If you notice that your back wants to round like this, bend the knees and avoid the rounding. Elongate the spine instead. Bend the knees as much as you need to do that. Tilt your weight forward, as far forward as you can balance, so that, especially if your legs are straight, your hips are stacked above your heels. They're not behind your heels. Now, lower your arms and hold opposite elbows. As we continue breathing here in Uttanasana, relax your neck. But don't relax your thighs. You want to still feel these fronts of the thigh muscles are engaged without locking the knees. In fact, you might be bending the knees. You're tilting your weight forward. So to support your lower back, especially when you're in a standing forward fold, you want your legs to be activated, your abdomen to be activated. 2 more breaths. Please step back into downward facing dog. Downward dog, bring your feet together so that they touch. Inhale, lift your right leg back. Exhale, step the foot forward between your hands and spin your left heel down. Place a block by the tallest height to the right side of your right shin. Press down to your feet and rise up to stand so your chest is facing your left wall. Bring your hands to your hips. Align your right heel to intersect the arch of your left foot and rotate your left leg slightly internally. So it's about 45 degrees that your left toes are pointing towards the front edge of your mat. And your right leg is externally rotated from the hip 90 degrees to face the front. Now, keep the legs straight and engage the front muscles of your thighs. These are your quadriceps. As you engage them, you help to support the hamstrings, the muscles behind them. Put a slight bend in the front knee if you tend to lock the knee in triangle pose. Glide your pelvis sideways towards your rear wall and lengthen your torso towards your front wall so that this right side of your torso is also lengthening, like you're reaching for something beyond your right toes. Now place the right hand down on your right thigh, your right shin, not the knee, or the block just to the right of your right leg, adjusting the height of it. As you press the block in your arm against your leg, raise the left arm up. Triangle pose. Now you feel the right hip, the outer hip and glute, they should be rotating slightly under your body here so that if you look at your right kneecap, it's pointing out towards your right pinky toe. Now to support balance in the pelvis, you're also firming the top of your left thigh bone back towards you as you roll the right glute under. Direct your tailbone to stretch actively towards your left heel. As the top of your head continues to lengthen towards your front wall, relax both of your shoulders away from your neck. Feel your upper belly, engage that too. As you raise the left arm straight up, you're stacking your shoulders and wrists. Turning your chest slightly towards the sky, you might be looking up. Now land your gaze on one point of focus. Tune in to 3 more breaths in Trikonasana. Bend the right knee just over the ankle, rise up to warrior two. Flip the right palm to face up. Keep the right knee bent forward and lift the spine, side bending towards your back wall. The left hand can lightly land on the left leg. Just a couple of breaths here in peaceful warrior. Inhale fully. As you exhale, cartwheel your hands to the ground and step back to downward facing dog. Lift your hips high, relax your neck, and steady your gaze for one more deep breath. Then bring your feet together to touch in downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, gently step the foot between your hands and spin the right heel down. Place a block by the tallest height to the left of your left shin. Press down through your feet and rise up so that your chest is facing your right wall. Bring your hands to your hips. Align your left heel to intersect the arch of your right foot. Your right leg is turned in about 45 degrees to face the front of your mat, while your left leg is turned out 90 degrees. Stand a little taller, engage the front muscles of your thighs, and as you keep your legs straight without locking the knees, open your arms and glide your pelvis sideways towards your rear wall, while lengthening your torso forward towards your front wall. Place the left hand on your left thigh, your left shin, or just to the left of your left shin on a block, adjusting the height of the block, preferably the same height as the first side. As you raise the right arm and stack your shoulders and wrists in one straight line. How is your breathing? Keep regulating that calm whispering sound in the breath. Feel that you're rolling your left outer hip and glute under your body enough so that your left kneecap is pointing out towards your left pinky toe, while you're pressing the top of your right thigh bone back towards you, stretching out through the top of the head towards the front wall, shoulder blades down the back, firming in the belly as you're turning the gaze up. If it feels okay on your neck, look up. If it doesn't, look somewhere else, but choose one spot. 3 more breaths. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Press down to your feet, bend the left knee right over the ankle, rise up, keep the left knee bent, lift the spine, then side bend towards your rear wall. Peaceful warrior. Right hand lands lightly on the right leg. Deep breaths. Now rising up to stand, we're gonna come down from here and take one active back bend. This is the opposite of forward bending, back bending. It's the contrasting movement of the spine. So take a block and by the skinniest width, firm it between your knees and thighs. We're preparing for bridge pose. Separate your feet as wide apart as your knees and parallel your feet to each other. Press them down evenly and lie down on your back. As you lie down, bring the arms down by your sides really close and slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not that close. Press the backs of your shoulders down and tilt your chin slightly away from your chest. Now we're only practicing bridge pose one time for your own count of 5 to 10 breaths. Focus on slow breathing. When you're ready, press down to your feet and shoulders, tilt your tailbone up towards the block, and inhale, lift the pelvis. As you hug the block, stretch the front of your thighs forward. Notice how this is stretching the front of your thighs, your hips, your belly, your shoulders. Whereas forward folds stretch the back of the body. Walk the upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Keep your arms straight. If your hands touch, you might interlace the fingers. Keep counting 5 to 10 breaths before you lower. As you press the feet down, keep them still, but bring the energy into your legs as if you're dragging your heels towards your glutes while you actively stretch the front of your thighs forward and spin your inner thighs slightly towards the ground. Deep breaths. In Sanskrit, bridge pose is called Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Do you feel this lift in your chest? I'm going to reference it later very soon. So just remember that feeling. When you slowly come down, go ahead and remove the block. Bring your legs together with your knees bent and open your arms apart, wide on the ground. Lift your feet, ground your right shoulder and drop your knees to the left, only as far as your right shoulder stays on the floor. You might look towards your right hand for a few breaths. Supine spinal twist. So spinal twists help to neutralize the spine when you go from one stark contrast to another. So from a back bend to a forward fold, you can put a spinal twist in between so that you're not drastically doing the complete opposite to the spine right after. You want to create a graduation. So lift the knees, twist to the other side, towards the opposite shoulder. One more deep breath. Now roll all the way over to the side your knees have fallen and press the ground away to slowly rise up for our next seated forward fold. Bring your feet together to touch, and this one is a hip opening forward fold as well. It's called bound angle pose or Baddha Konasana. Now notice first, as you're bringing your feet to touch, is your back rounding at all like this? If it is, grab your blanket, fold it as thick as it allows you to sit on in a way that your pelvis is slightly tilting forward like in the beginning, so that you can engage the lower belly and elongate the spine. No rounding in the back. Now, if you are already feeling a stretch in your lower back, coming forward might not be necessary. So feel the sensations in your body. Oftentimes, we may want to push ourselves more than our body is asking for, because maybe it looks like you're going deeper, but that's not necessarily practicing yoga, right? Yoga is about balance and tuning into the body, working with the body, not against it. So as you bring the feet together, lift your heart and deep breath in. Engage the belly and notice if it's necessary to start bowing from the hips. If it's not, stay upright and you can feel what you're feeling here. You know what you're experiencing in your body. Listen to that. If you're folding forward, you might place the hands in front of you on the ground or in blocks. Each time you breathe in, press down with your pelvis and stretch the spine longer from the pelvis. If you begin to round your back, that's your body saying you've gone too far. Then you can just back off a little and find where you can feel as if you're creating a flat back, including a little lift in the chest, like that lift in the chest you felt in bridge pose, a slight version. Now, as you breathe in next, lift your spine upright and straighten your legs for our last seated forward fold. This is called Paschimottanasana. For this one, I'll invite you to use a strap. Place the strap around the balls of your feet, flexing your feet. Kick into the strap and spread the toes back towards your face. Now, as you're holding the strap, decide how much slack you need so that there's a taut grip. You're not wrapping the strap like this, where it's really forceful. All you have to do is hold the strap closer to your feet or further away from your feet. And that will give you just the right amount of tension, right? We're not using too much force. We want to have balance with effort and ease. And then relax the shoulders back and down. Feel how much you're pulling into the strap and how much your feet are kicking into the strap. Again, find balance. Engage the front muscles of your thighs. without locking the knees. This helps to support your hamstrings, as I mentioned earlier. Engage the belly in. This helps to support the lower back. Now spin your inner thighs slightly towards the floor, like we did when we were standing up, without moving your feet. So you're moving the thigh bones from the hip sockets. This broadens the lower back. Add hugging the hips, the outer hips towards each other, like they're helping to stabilize the lower spine. Now press the sitting bones down and lift up the spine a little taller. Breathe in, shoulders relaxed. Exhale, notice if it's necessary to hinge forward. You might already be feeling enough staying upright, then don't hinge forward. Otherwise, hinge from the hips, not from the neck. Sometimes I see people practicing their forward bends like this, with a head bowing. This is not a forward fold. This is the head bowing, right? So you want to keep the neck as it is and hinge from the pelvis, from the hips. Inhale, press the pelvis down, elongate the spine. Notice the space that's between your chin and your chest. Keep the same space as you bow further, if you're bowing further. Inhale, elongate the spine. If it's available, exhale, bow further. So yoga has a lot to do with practicing wisdom, meaning we're not trying to just make the body look like it's going deeper when the body is actually compensating and possibly creating injury, right? Sometimes I see forward folds looking like this, like I'm really, really trying to touch my head to my toes. Is it necessary to touch your head to your toes, or is it necessary to have balance? Finding whatever is available in your body at the moment and practicing in harmony with that, not in disharmony. As you press the pelvis down, engage the belly. Inhale, begin to rise up. Put the strap aside, roll out your feet, maybe shake out your legs. And let's prepare to lie down for corpse pose. You may like some lower back support, placing the blanket under the backs of your knees. Drop the feet apart so they're wider apart than your hips distance. And as you come down onto your back, bring the palms to face up by your sides. Slide the shoulders down the back. Feel out your neck. Is it relaxed? Feel out your jaw and the muscles in your face. And now close your eyes and inhale slowly. Imagine breathing into your whole body. Hold the breath in comfortably for a few seconds. When you're ready, open the lips and very slowly let it go. From here, let go of controlling your breath. Allow your body to be still with your eyes closed. Be present in your body. We'll be here for a few minutes in Shavasana. Stay a little longer in stillness with eyes closed. And now notice how your body feels. Begin to rub your fingers against each other. Wiggle your toes, little by little waking up your body with gentle movement. Stretch the arms overhead. And with your eyes still closed, gently turn over onto your right side, resting your head. Notice the breath now and feel your energetic state. And does anything feel different about it? Press your hands into the ground and slowly lift your body upright, maybe sitting on your folded blanket. Prepare to sit for 2 minutes in meditation. Invite your body to feel grounded, alert, with a tall spine and relaxed shoulders. And invite you to bring the palms to stack face up on the center of your lap with your thumb tips touching. This is a mudra to cultivate balanced state of mind. Choose to either close your eyes or steady a soft gaze ahead on one focal point at eye level. Allow your breath to flow naturally. Let's begin. As the breath flows naturally, sense it coming in and out, wherever you can sense it the easiest in your body. Continue to observe the breath continuously flowing right at that particular spot in your body for the next minute and a half. If your attention goes somewhere else, bring it back gently as many times as you need. Now notice how you feel emotionally. Notice how you feel mentally. Does your mind feel calmer, more focused, balanced? Sense the effects of your yoga practice. As you bring it to close, you might join your hands together at your heart, again gesturing union and gratitude. What is one thing you appreciate now? And through the lens of appreciation,
Remind yourself of your intention for today's practice. Also remember to whom you dedicated this practice. Together, let's close chanting Om 3 times. Inhale deeply. Om. 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 Bow in, acknowledging your inner being, the guidance within you. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.